evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Talk of the League on the Balls Out podcast. Good to be back. Little few days off from this, but good to be back indeed. And once again, another action-packed weekend of Premier League football to mull over and talk about. And as we've got a debut on the channel, we've definitely got to talk a little bit of Chelsea, as we've got Chelsea fan Jonesy on board. How you doing, sir? Welcome to the channel.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I can't complain, apart from Chelsea Football Club, but apart from that, I'm good.
Good man. And we've got Jay there somewhere. Jay, you with us, buddy?
Hello, but yeah, I am here. Sorry, I'm just having a drink as well, so I didn't want to sort of drink on camera, like.
No, but you're good though, yeah?
Yeah, I'm all grand. Well, apart from our result, but yeah, I'm all grand.
Yeah, I'm a bit the opposite actually. I think it's a point gained rather than 3 points lost. But speak of the man of himself, he's the man of the hour. He's the star of the channel at the minute, hosting. Started on the new series of Balls Out Burst, which you can find now on the Balls Out Podcast YouTube channel. We've got Mark's very first rant, or one of the only rants that we've managed to clip up and put out there. But we've got the man himself. We've got Mark Angridge. How you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. A bit like Jay, apart from the club, everything else is all good.
Nice, brilliant, really good stuff. No, so I think let's get the United chat out of the way, because we do have another show on the channel, Red Devils Roundup, which we will be bringing to you this week at some stage. And I'm sure the guys will have more of a rant on there than we will on this one, as this is a bit more of a Premier League chat. But let's very quickly mull over that result. So 2-2 away from home against Everton. I'll give you my thoughts very quickly going into the game. And like I've said to you, Mark and Jay, for a long time now, I'm not really that interested in results and games at the minute. I'm just with the flow. I'm just taking it every game by game, not really fussed. This is a bit of a write-off season for me. A bit more interested in the Europa League results at the moment and the cup results. But that being said, I was expecting a defeat against Everton. I'll be honest. I was expecting us to go out and lose, especially after the uplifting news in the week that United go out on a training team bonding session out on the night in Manchester to try and get it together and get their heads right. But you'd like to think that would have worked. Some might say it did, some might say it didn't. But yeah, I genuinely thought, going to Everton was going to be a tough place to go, especially as every game there now going up to when they move to their new ground is going to sound like a cup final. It was an unbelievable atmosphere. A lot of controversial decisions made in that game, as we can all see. But no, from a United standpoint, I was very bitterly disappointed in the first half. The first half defending was woeful. I said in our group chat, it was horrendous defending in the first half. Going forward, especially Dorgu on the left, I thought he played really well going forward in an attacking sense. But apart from that, the first half, woeful. Second half, we didn't really deserve to get into it at all, but managed to conjure something out. Apparently, there was reports today that there was a message from Amorim in the dressing room at halftime. I haven't seen it, but apparently that was there. But yeah, I was pleased with the overall result because I genuinely thought we were going to lose. But Mark, what do you reckon?
I can't really add much to what you've just said. First half was unrecognisable of a professional football club. It was that abysmal. Dorgu was the only shining light. And yeah, 2-2 draw, Moments FC, which we've been called for the last 3 years. A free kick and a great shot from Ugarte, which he makes himself from a great first touch. And let's be fair, we should have lost. That was a stonewall penalty at the end, and we finally got the rub of the green. So yeah, Everton deserved that all day, and for a bonding session, it's done completely the opposite. I thought we looked more divided than ever before. So I don't know who got absolutely spanked in the bowling, but or also had some dodgy meat because it was a Brazilian and bowling. But yeah, I don't know what to say. There's no way a manager set him up to play like that because there was one player doing it up and down, and again we were walking. Same players as always, and certain players I thought should have been yanked off at half time. But yeah, we'll go into more of that on the Red Devils Roundup. But
Yeah, and Jay, what are your thoughts?
Like you watch Man United.
Oh, sorry, Mike.
Every team can beat Manchester United, but when you see them play, like I watched the Forest Newcastle game earlier. How the fuck? They're shit. Those teams. I thought, hang on. You see them going end to end with each other. You're like, well, they don't do that against Man United. How bad are we? Because they just control the game. So, yeah, it is what it is. We are crap and we are 15th. But 1 point towards that 11 we need for, Premier League survival.
Go on, Jay, jump straight in, mate.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything both of you have said, apart from I'm actually going to disagree with Mark on one thing. I generally don't think that was a penalty. Like if you look at Ashley Young's foot, he looks like he's just sort of dived, and he looked like a Micah Richards kind of. It just doesn't look like a penalty to me. But I agree. The first half was. I didn't want to watch it, if I'm honest with you. I felt like chucking my shirt in the bin. The second half, I think, when Bruno dropped deep, that was the game changer. Obviously, you had Casemiro coming off. Good riddance. You had young players on, and that was the game changer.
Yeah. From an outside point of view, Jonesy, what are your thoughts on sort of United this season?
I always look at Man United. I think it's there's a lot of people blaming the manager and the players, but I think it's the way the club's run. And obviously, if you look at the squad itself, I don't think the squad's good enough. There's some good individuals in there. Like Ahmad, I think Kobe Mainoo's talented. You've got people like Euro, still young, but there's still people in that squad that should not be anywhere near that squad. Look at the attack. There's no goals in it. Xerxes, Hoyland, just no output from them. There's a lot of effort in there, but the output just doesn't show. And as you boys said, regarding the game of the weekend, the only standout player I think that from the first minute to the last minute was Dogu. He was the only one that was again shining bright for Man United. The rest of them, Bruno Fernandes turned up in the second half. First half, it was terrible. James knows this. My dad's a Man United fan, so I pay attention to what's going on at that club, and it's rotten from the top, and it's now gone from the top, and it's onto the pitch.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, it's a case of this has been. Ranić said it first. It's open heart surgery at the club, and we all when Jim Ratcliffe said that he wants to buy the club, and we all saw that as a sort of a saving grace. This man's going to come in and save us from disparity and mid-table obscurity. But to join forces with the Glazers and just pretty much, I wouldn't say worse than the Glazers, but it just doesn't seem to be materialising quite as much as he was making out in the first place. But it's rotten from the top down at the minute, and there's reports this week saying that the morale at the club, not just in the playing staff and the coaching staff and the manager, but just in general, it's horrendous. Mark, do you want to quickly comment on that?
Yeah, basically he did a deal with the devil, didn't they? That's as simple as that. I didn't want him from day one. Anyone who wants to change their offer up just to guarantee they got it shows they weren't looking at the club, because the one thing all fans wanted from the club was Glazers out, and he didn't. He done the one deal that kept him there, so he could get his name in.
Yeah,
I'm now super skeptical because he's getting sued by Ben Ainsley. He's getting sued by Ineos, but let's be fair, it's the same person. He runs the clubs or runs each little franchise, shall we say? Until the Glazers are gone, Manchester United will not return. It's that simple. It's something I try not to talk about because I think it is as black and white, and I think Man City have now paved the way for maybe Man United to come back, and maybe the stuff Chelsea have done in over the last year with their contracts. There must be so many little loopholes in the Premier League's paperwork that seems to now getting called out if you take them to court.
Yeah, Jay, should we quickly finish up with you, mate, on Man United, and then we can move on? Go on.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I can't. I mean, I agree with Mark, everything he said, to be fair with you. I don't think there's really nothing I can really add to it.
No, that's fair enough. I think we'll quickly go round on that the penalty decision right at the end of the game. So I saw it on Match of the Day, and I didn't see it in real time. But from what I could make out is, from a VAR standpoint, that they should not even have got involved on that occasion. It was not clear and obvious. It was no need for the VAR officials to say, you need to go and have a look at this. The referee made his decision on the pitch. The VAR should have looked at that and gone, yeah, can't really see why it should be and why it shouldn't, so it should have stood. So in that respect, I do agree that Everton probably deserved to get that penalty. So we'll quickly go around. Mark, you've already said not. You're saying penalty.
Yeah, because he was pulled by two different players at the same time. So that's why it's a Stonewall player penalty. And VAR actually fucked up because they did not show the angle where it shows De Ligt holding his shirt and Maguire holding his shirt. The whole leg's coming up. That's the Premier League. And he does that. I've seen clips of him doing it for Man United, doing the rounds today, like when he makes contact, hangs a leg, and the legs flick up. Because referees say, if you don't go down, I'm not giving a penalty. So you've got to do it. So, yeah, Stonewall penalty because two players pulled his shirt.
Stonewall for Mark. Jay, what do you reckon?
I mean, I was saying I generally don't think, but I mean, yeah, he got a couple of tucks. I don't think it was enough to generally make him go down. Bastion's quite a strong player. He's been around for the game for a long time. He knows how to draw a penalty and how not to. And I think he was just generally trying to get the penalty, you know?
Yep. So you're saying no penalty, yeah?
No, yeah.
And Jonesy, where do you stand on it, mate?
Yeah, I'm on the same side as James. I just think also there was a tuck from both players, more so De Ligt when you see one angle, but again, I know he's done it. Man, where he's gone down theatrically. I think maybe that's not helped him. If he'd gone down normal, maybe he'd have got it, but I think that's not helped his case by the way he went down.
All right, so we're all split on here as well. We've got two saying penalty, two saying not. So if we can't get it right, then I'm not surprised VAR can't get it right.
But that's where you're right, because it's that lovely word they like to use. We have an opinion, so therefore we're going to intervene. It's like, no, the ref's given it.
Yeah.
It's not Stonewall, so go with the on-field decision. But if you're going to intervene, you've got to show him 5-6 angles.
Yeah.
You've got to show him the angles you've gone through, and they choose to show him the furthest angle away. That's the first one they showed him, the furthest angle away, and then the one which just sort of shows Maguire grabbing his hip. Now, I would flip it and say, if he didn't dive with his legs coming up in the air, but he spun, like went down spinning, I think all of us say penalty straight away. It's because he threw his legs up in the air, and sort of swan dives down. But if he spins and like as if he's been spun out of like a dance, you say penalty because that's what he's done. He's actually grabbed his hip and stopped him from running.
Yeah, I just think he's dived, like he's just acted too much on it, and it's just made it unbelievable in that sense.
Yeah, but that's the Premier. Like Mark said, that's the Premier League all over. Players are going to go down with theatrics just to get their point across. But we all know that as soon as a referee gets sent to the monitor, they're pretty much being told you need to change your mind. So that's exactly what's happened here. Unfair on Everton really, because that 100% we should give them credit. They were 100% the better team on the day. Beto is a completely different player under David Moyes. I think that was four in his last 5 games, or 5 in his last 4 games. One of the two. I apologise if I've got the stat wrong, but no, genuinely, 100% Everton probably deserved to win that match. But as from United point, it's a point keeping us out of the bottom 3 at this point, so we'll take it. Let's move on to Jonesy's team, Chelsea. Probably would have hoped for a bit more of an ideal debut, mate, to be honest, but let's move you up there and get your thought process on Chelsea. So obviously 2-1 defeat away from home against Marcus Rashford. Yeah. What did you make of the game overall? I managed to only catch maybe the last 20 minutes. So go ahead, talk me through it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought it did change up a bit, which we've been asking Maresca to do. He put Reece James midfield, and like I said, I pushed Enzo forward, so we didn't have much defensive work to do. He was covered there. I think first half we was okay. I wouldn't say far from amazing, but yeah, second half we were absolutely poor. Second half, you get the goal, You got 1-0 from Enzo Fernandez. Brilliant work from Neto. Driving is his fullback, which he's not done on a consistent basis since he's been here. We get the goal, 1-0, and I was speaking to half time, spoke to a couple of Chelsea fans, and we just knew what was coming. We knew what was going to happen that second half. You look at the first goal. Gusto tries to step up, leaves Rashford and Mark, pulls it across the box, tap in. Then the second goal, again, goes underneath the goalkeeper. You can't trust either of these goalkeepers. They're both bad as each other. It was, again, carbon cop. I could repeat myself what I've said on all season. Just first half good, second half just bang average.
Yeah, it seems like a real problem with Chelsea at the minute, Jonesy, is that the amount of goalkeepers that you guys have got on the books and the two that you've managed to keep are still not as reliable.
No, literally, we've got one in Strasbourg who, Petrovic, last season, he came in for Sanchez and he did himself well. He had made a few errors, which, as a young keeper, is going to make mistakes, but, we could see something and promising signs with him. And then decided to send him on loan to Strasbourg. Kepa, again, he's at Bournemouth, doing really well there. So we've got two keepers on loan who are performing at a higher standard than these two, what we've currently got. It just don't make sense what's going on there.
United can sell you a Nana.
Yeah, do you want a Nana? Do you a cut price deal?
It wouldn't surprise me if this club did it, but both are just bad as each other. With Sanchez, he's a good shot stopper, but with his feet, he's terrible. He gives a ball away on a consistent basis, and you can't trust him.
No, exactly. A player I've been really impressed with actually is the rise of Marc Cucurella in that position that he's playing at the minute. He's not been brilliant, but he's been decent. I think he's been quite solid for you there.
He has. At the beginning of the season, he was brilliant. Like, I couldn't fault he especially coming back off the Euros. He just won the Euros with Spain, and he continues that form. But I'd say the last month or so, just like the team, he's not doing really well at the minute. Go back to the Villa game. He was really poor. They just kept targeting that side.
Yeah.
And he has struggled the last few weeks, but that don't. For me, that's more of a team issue than a Cucurella issue.
Yeah, and a player, I think we did a show early on in the season. I think a lot of us were really hoping that Chelsea were going to be put a title challenge, purely because we don't want Liverpool to win it, we don't want Man City to win it, and I mean certainly myself, I don't want Arsenal to win it. So when Chelsea was sort of up in that sort of second, third position, we were all sort of hoping they would launch a bit of a title challenge. But Jay, I don't know how much of Chelsea you watch, but what do you really put it down to? Like Jonesy said, is it just a case of that team's just lacking confidence, or is it just a case of Maresca's sort of tactical changes aren't just really working for him at the minute?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's helping himself, to be fair. But yeah, I think his confidence as well. I mean, you've seen what a goal does to someone. So if they can get a couple of goals in, a few of their players, I don't think there's any stopping them. They've got a force to be reckoned with, but it's just getting them to play the tune,
Yeah. And a player, Mark, that I don't know if you're quite impressed with him, but I certainly am impressed with him, is Cole Palmer. And in the last few run of games, he's really, for myself anyway, he's really fallen off a cliff.
Cole Palmer's superb. But again, his age, you rely on someone like that as much as what Chelsea are relying on him. He's going to fall off, and he's going to fall off quick, because that pressure is just going to build and build and build. And even last season, everyone was like, yeah, but he can handle the pressure. He can handle the pressure. Yeah, then imagine how much that pressure is the second season, the third season, as it goes on when you're carrying a team. He still makes everything tick for you. You still see him getting in between the lines for Chelsea. But the goals dry up. Why? Because they're double marking. Because he's the main man. So that's where you're going to get your holding midfielder and a defender step in on him. So every time he's got to lay it off. I didn't really understand Chelsea's formation. I've got to be honest. The Reece James, I think, had the potential to be one of the best right wing backs probably in world football. But to put him into midfield, it seemed just like, well, you can't get back into that slot, so we're going to put you in as a holding midfielder instead of having you invert in. So we're we're almost setting up to attack before we get that far. And I thought that's what happened. I thought Chelsea ran out of legs in the second half, and Villa, who are a very fit, quick team, sort of that's what they targeted, especially with the second goal. Like just before they got the corner, there was one where they were caught offside. I think that was Asensio as well. He just went straight through the middle of the park, straight through the middle, and so maybe he's trying to work on new tactics. But I thought Chelsea would really keep going for the whole season. I generally did. I thought last season was the setup.
Yeah.
Go on, Josie. Go for it.
Ideally, would have had Caicedo and Lavia in there, but Lavia's injured, and it's either play Reece James in there alongside Caicedo, or play Drewsbury Hall, which again goes back to for me. And I spoke to Jab, had playing discussion with James and other fans about this. It goes back to recruitment. The recruitment in this squad is average. If you go look at defensively, you got Tosin, Badashiel, Carl's dropped off. Fafana's injury prone. He can't be trusted. No one that with injury record. Go to the attack. Madueke, Mudryk, Neto, Sancho. As you boys, we are now seeing the real Sancho. We're seeing the Sancho that Man United know. We're seeing him right in the minute. He's afraid to take his man on. Every time he gets the ball, he just goes backwards. He's like the last month. Like he had a good start, and obviously I didn't get carried away too much. So I knew what was coming. But again, I just, as you mentioned, it's like Cole Palmer again, as the song goes. But this guy again last season we relied on Palmer. This season relying on Palmer again.
Yeah.
And as a young kid, still 22, 23, you can't pin all the hopes of one team on one individual. And if any of you watched the Brighton game, we lost 3-0 in the league. There's an incident where the ball gets pulled back to him, he skies it, and he turns around. And I don't know who he's gone mad at. But he's gone mad at someone. So I think even they'll get to a point he'll have enough of what's going on.
Yeah, I generally think it's a job too big for him as well. To be fair, I do think they do need a bigger manager to control that.
Very quickly, bit of breaking news coming out of Scottish football, if anyone cares. It was expected about 2 to 3 hours ago that Rangers were going to sack Philippe Clement. It's just been confirmed that Rangers have sacked head coach Philippe Clement. So if you have any interest in Scottish football, it's no surprise.
Yeah, we're not good friends.
Yeah, but you don't sack a manager, he's still going somewhere in Europe. That's all.
Yeah, that's very true.
He's still going somewhere in Europe. He's obviously focusing on that. He's got Tottenham in the next round. Sack him once he's out.
Yeah,
yeah.
Me and James know we've got a good friend who's a Rangers fan, and he's been calling for Clement to get sacked for probably the last few weeks. So he'll be happy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it maybe needed to happen, but at the same point, that new manager's got to come in facing Spurs on a Europa, and it's not an easy job. So maybe should have kept him, as Mark said, and maybe after.
Yeah.
Well, I think sacking any manager is ridiculous outside of a transfer window. Well, he's got to come in and do better with the same players, and that's the fear in we as United fans, we know this better than anyone. And as Chelsea, if you bring in, Chelsea have got 500 players, United have got toxic players. You can bring in a new manager, but there's nothing. They know they're safe, so that new manager's still going to have to do 6 months until he can get rid of anyone or really change anything. If your guy at Rangers was thinking, "Oh, we should have got rid of him," then the club were already looking before the transfer window shut, and they should have pulled the trigger then. But I bet they didn't, because they were hoping he'd get him through in Europe, and he did.
Yeah. Speaking of managers, Jonesy, so when Maresca was appointed as Chelsea manager, what side of the fence were you on? Because it seemed really divided to me about the Chelsea fans. That there seemed to be really split down the middle between really excited about Maresca or really disappointed in that appointment. Where were you on that?
I was torn with it. I did speak to a few Leicester fans because I didn't know a great deal about him. So I had them on. I spoke to them for about half an hour, 45 minutes. I had a good discussion, the pros and cons of him. But when we sat Pochettino, which I was all for, I think he had to go. I wanted Thomas Tuchel back. It was never going to happen because he fell out with them. But he was the man I wanted back. But when I looked at the short list, that when I took my favouritism hat off and looked at the list, we had on the list was Kieran McKenna, Thomas Frank, and he ended to be Enzo Maresca. So they're the three men I looked at and gone, and it wasn't my number one choice, but I looked at them three, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to take it because the other two, especially Thomas Frank, I don't want him anywhere near it because I watched a lot of Brentford. They play so boring. The times they are boring to watch. So yeah, that's the kind of managers we link with, Championship mid-table managers.
Yeah, you're pretty much. I mean, you're still quite high up in the table, but it's amazing how the mighty have fallen, really, isn't it? Like we're all seem to be in that position. It's poor, but yeah. So you're sitting. Where are you? I just had a look at that.
Six, we're seventh. Sorry, it was seventh because Newcastle won.
Yeah, 7th. Joint on points with Bournemouth. They've got better goal difference than you, and Villa just behind you on 42. What are your thoughts going into sort of like what we're getting up to now, nearly at the final third of the season? Where do you realistically think you guys could finish?
Well, for me, this season was top four in a trophy, which obviously we knocked out the FA Cup, no longer in the Carabao. Still got the conference, which we should win. If we don't win that, it's an embarrassment. But I'll just look at the back end of the season in May. We've got to go to Forest. We've got to go to Newcastle. We've got Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? So if we're not in top four by then, we're not going to get top four because that running is not, it's not good. We're not going to go to Newcastle and Forest, these players, and get a win. So I think when I look at the situation and the squad we've got in a minute, I think we'll finish 6th.
Yeah, 6 is probably. I would probably agree with you. Actually, 6 is probably about doable, especially with Bournemouth and Newcastle really in a position to keep their form going. Let's talk about Villa and as from a United standpoint, Mark. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk that Rashford's gone there and succeeded, but are we really surprised by that?
Rashford's a young player out of the Villa Academy, yeah, because I haven't seen him play anywhere else like that.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? People were going, "Oh, they show." I literally listened to an interview. I think it was Monday Night Football, whichever one they were on, and they were saying that he showed him videos of what he used to do, and right, so he's making a choice, but I can do that here. It is true in football. You can leave a club when it ain't working for you, go somewhere else, turn it around because the noise is gone. You covered your ears. It's gone, and it did get toxic for all the fans. As soon as he didn't do something, were on him at Old Trafford. You could hear the booing starting coming as well when he was on the ball, but that's because he was walking. This Marcus Rashford, Jesus Christ, he's running at everyone. That cutback for the first one, he did not give up. There's no way he even gets there in a Man United shirt, let alone hold on to the defender, go with it, and the most awkward sort of studding back towards Asensio. It's just annoying. But then Villa have that with a lot of players. A lot of players have gone to Aston Villa and changed their careers around.
Marco Asensio as well. I mean, who would have saw that coming?
Oh, mate, I wanted him at United for years. He used to be world class, and the Spanish under-21s never really broke into the Madrid team. I thought when Ronaldo left, that was it. That was his thing, and he'd go and pops Vinicius Junior, and the rest is history. But Villa, yeah, you're just talking about will Chelsea finish top 4? So I was looking at a league table earlier, and it's like we need 40 points to be safe as a United fan. So you start going, well, who's on 40 points? Brighton in 9th, 40, Villa 42, Chelsea 43, Bournemouth 43, Newcastle 44, and then City now in 4th, 44, and Forest, who are slowly declining, shall we say, in 3rd on 47. So, like you say, Chelsea might finish 6th. Jesus, one wrong result against anyone in that top 10, people can drop a good few places on any given day. So, it's what we love about the Premier League, but it's certainly getting tighter and tighter at the top.
Yeah, it's a really strange season because, like you say there, the points tallies across the board seem I don't know. For me, it seems really low in comparison, but maybe that's just me. A lot of more draws, I would say, in a lot of the games this year.
Everyone's
Yeah,
beating everyone. That's what it is.
everyone's beating
Everyone is
everyone.
beating everyone. Like Forest smashed Brighton 4-5-0. What was it? And then lost 4-5-0 themselves to someone else.
Yeah,
You know?
7-0 they lost, didn't they?
7-0, yeah.
Yeah. So if you're going to have results like that, then the points gap's going to be really tight. So if 10th is 39 and there's 20 teams, and what's safety? 22. So it's just 10 points either way from relegation to Champions League. 20 points swing overall.
Jay, what are your thoughts on the bottom three at the minute, mate? We've got Ipswich on 17, Leicester on 17, Southampton are on course to break a record at 9. Is that likely to be the three that will go down, do you think? The only other team really that can get pulled in now, apart from us, is Wolves. Wolves on 20.
Yeah, I was going to. I don't see Wolves going down. If I'm honest with you, I really don't. Not with the way they're playing at the moment. But yeah, I can see them three going down. Realistically, I can see us sort of gaining maybe 9 points to the rest of the season. Maybe 12 pushing.
If we're
Don't
lucky.
think so. No. I really don't think so. So, yeah, the bottom three I think will stay as it is. And yeah, hopefully we push up to at least top half, at least 10, or 11 at least.
I couldn't imagine us getting any further than 12, to be honest, if we're lucky. I think 15th is probably respectable for us at this rate.
Well, yeah.
So, yeah, like we
I've
say.
got a question.
Go on,
So we're talking goalkeepers about Chelsea.
Go for
How
it.
much would you take Ramsdale right now? Because I tell you what, he's unbelievable for Southampton. They're on minus 42 goals, and it could be double that if it weren't for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, better than the two we got at the minute.
Say again?
So I said he's better than the current Sanchez and the other goalkeeper we got.
But he's not
But
great.
then again,
he'll keep the ball out of the net.
Yeah, then again, we've got about 50 goalkeepers, so I don't know which way it'll be.
I'm sure one of them you can pick.
Yeah,
Get rid of a few and get Ramsdale in. To be fair, when Arsenal were talking about selling him, I would have been quite happy with him at United.
Yeah.
He was outstanding for Arsenal in that season where they were pushing. When they went for the move for Raya, it raised eyebrows, but you can start to see why they went for Raya. But for us, certainly, I would have been really happy with Ramsdale over Onana at this point. Not that I have anything against Onana. I still think he's a decent shot stopper at times. But like you say, minus 42 for Southampton. It could have been minus 84 quite easily.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, just a quick thing on the bottom of the table.
Go for it.
I know obviously you're in around there, but I think the saving grace for obviously Man United and a few others that, as Jan mentioned, I think obviously Southampton are gone. I think they're definitely gone.
Mm-hmm.
You look at, I think you got Leicester. I watched Leicester against Brentford. They were terrible. Leicester, so I think they're going to do. Ipswich, I watched them against Spurs. Again, defensively was more great. Also got showing like the lap, but again, they can't rely on a young kid to bang every goal and to keep them up. So I'll just look at them three that the worse are off than lots of Wolves, Man United, and the rest.
Yeah. Guys, odds on next manager be sacked? Reid van Nistelrooy, what do we think?
No, I think they keep him for the championship. To be fair, I think he was the wrong appointed manager. To be honest, but I can't see them breaking their bank again to get another manager. I think they do keep him. If it don't work out, then they sack him. But I think he stays.
Don't be surprised if Southampton sack their manager
again.
That won't surprise me.
Mark, your thoughts?
I thought he should. If we're talking Leicester, Van Nistelrooy should never have taken the job. Southampton, I agree. If they should have kept hold of Russell Martin. If they were going down, keep hold of him. I'd rather keep hold of someone who's stuck to their guns because they brought now changed and it's better. Grass wasn't green on the other side. In fact, it's probably got worse. They're now not sticking to what brought them up. So they're going straight back down and they've got to build again. Kieran McKenna. See, is that we look at Leicester, we look at Southampton, then you look what Ipswich are going to do with Kieran McKenna. There's no way they're sacking him, are there? But the chances are they're going down.
Yeah.
He's playing. You can see what he's done. They've overachieved for 2 years. 1 promotion, yes, 2 promotions. Fucking miracle. To actually then try and stay up in the Premier League was never going to happen.
Yeah, it's true.
For me, Kieran McKenna is a sort of unsackable manager at this point.
But then so should Van Nistelrooy be, because he's walked into a team that was fucking losing every game, and you expect him to turn it around. They didn't buy any players, as far as I'm aware, in the transfer window. So what was he going to do? Because they've got no money. I still think Ange has probably got as much chance of being sacked as Van Nistelrooy. So now he's out of all the cups. If he gets 2 or 3 losses.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying with that, but at the same point, he's sticking to his guns, though, isn't he? Still, he wants to do it his way, which I respect him for. I think he's probably got the best tune out of them in the last couple of managers. I don't think selling Harry Kane was an ideal thing for them, but what they brought in for it was all right. And yeah, I don't think he's done too bad as a Spurs manager.
What, considering he's the lowest and they have been for God knows how many years?
Yeah, but you got to build your thing around your team, innit you? Do you know what I mean? It don't take 2 months, 3 months. It could take up to a year or so.
Well, I think if they go out in Europa League, don't make the final, and don't win it, he's gone. I think Amorim could be in the same boat as that. If they both stay down there and they don't win, they could be sacked because at the end of the day, both clubs need the money coming in the following season from the European football. But yeah, I think it's too obvious to say that Southampton's manager will be sacked. I think that might not work for the board. Do you know what I mean? They might turn on them, but they've done it before in the Premier League. Did they not go through 3 managers last time they were up?
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, I can't really remember.
Yeah.
James, you want to jump in on there? Go on.
Yeah. I just for me, Ranch Postecoglou, I'm not going to say I'm a Chelsea fan. I don't want to really stick up for Spurs, but the one thing I'll say is, if you look at injuries as well, they've had a bad injury crisis, and he did try and change it. He went to Goodison and went to a back 3, and obviously it didn't work because there was 3-0 down at half time, so it didn't work. So he has tried to change. And I've had plenty of discussions with Spurs fans, and I've said that, you can look at injuries, which I've also mentioned just, but there've been games where he's not helped himself. Like the Chelsea game, you're 2-0 up, and you still play the same way instead of just dropping off. And in that game, there's space. They just dropped back and play on the counter attack. I think Spurs win that game because we left space where they decided to keep pressing, and we just passed around them, and obviously then Sancho scored, and then. The rest is history. So I think there's games he's not helped himself, and there's injuries, but I think they'll keep him till the end of the season. Then they might just, as Mark mentioned, they'll look. I think they'll be like your boys. I think they'll look at it in the summer and assess in.
Yeah, I agree. It will be. I don't quite agree with Mark on the sense that I think Ruben Amorim will get sacked. If United go out of all the cup competitions and don't finish in European places, I still believe that Amorim needs a full pre-season and a full summer transfer window to really see. But I do think that in the sense that we need the money, so to give him any chance of building anything in the summer, we need some sort of European football, which will probably make it really difficult.
I don't want Amorim sacked. I don't want him to touch him at all. I just think the people we've got are that savage now, but that's potentially what will happen.
Yeah, and it will be 100%. It would be the wrong decision to get rid of him this season. That's for sure. If it goes into next season and we get to Christmas and we're still not within top 4 touching distance, then by all means, we've given him an opportunity to have a chance, but we need European football to make that happen, especially for money for the transfer window. Probably got about 5-10 minutes left, so let's very quickly, if we have to, touch on Liverpool extending their lead at the top of the league to 11 points after a very impressive victory over Man City today. Let's very quickly touch on Man City, actually. Jonesy, I don't know about you, but I've quite enjoyed it, the downfall of Manchester City this year. It's sort of a bit like karma's come back to bite them on the arse. What are your thoughts with Man City's downfall? Are you quite as happy as us, or?
Well, obviously, I have no hatred towards City. Obviously, more so Liverpool and Arsenal, Spurs, they're the three that I look at. But regarding obviously City, if you look at that squad, it's been aging, and obviously they tried to rectify it in January with, Mamouche came in, Krasnikov, the centre back, Brazilian young 19-year-old came in, Voice. So they've tried to, trim the squad regarding age. If you look at the midfield's a problem for Manchester City. Gundogan's in there, Kovacic, they're both the other side of 30. De Bruyne injury prone. He's getting another. He's on the other side of 30. They got rid of Walker. Played Rico Lucet there. They played Matthias Nunes, who's a midfielder, at right back. So they've had the issues. And for me, I don't think they'll win anything this season. The FA Cup's probably the one you look at, but I think if they bump into a Liverpool or even you guys, even though you're on the, you beat them. So yeah, I think that squad is not good. It's one of the worst City squads I've seen.
I completely agree with you, by the way, and it fills me with great joy to hear you saying stuff like that, because I do genuinely like to see the downfall of Manchester City, as I'm sure
some of their fans, I've had discussions with some of their fans unbearable. So I get, look, I do see where you're coming from, because I spoke to one or two are just, I don't know.
Ludicrous.
Yeah, ludicrous and idiots. But I have to say, a lot of the Manchester City fans that I meet are genuinely. I mean, I work in an industry where I don't really meet a lot of young Manchester City fans when I'm out and about driving and stuff. But the older lot that I've met, because I do a lot of like work in like Southeast London and stuff like that, where they commute and stuff, and I speak to a lot of like the older generation of City fans, and they sort of say, "Look, we're used to it. We've been there, we've done it. We've been at the depths of relegation football and stuff like that." So their last sort of 10, 15 years of ascendancy is just a complete whirlwind to them, and it's started ever since sort of 2010 onwards. But I'm going to go throw it to you, Jay. I don't know if you saw the game, but Liverpool did make it look very, very easy, and it genuinely looks like it's champions elect at this point, as much as it pains us all to say.
Yeah, I mean, it just looked too easy to run through them, man. Way too easy. I mean, it could have been way more if it was a couple of inches barring VAR, But yeah, it's just too easy. Liverpool met up. Yeah, it does pain you to say, doesn't it? They are mustard, Liverpool, at the moment this season. They're really, every player you can feel's fighting for it. They want it. Man City, I don't know. I really don't know what's happened. Maybe all the court cases backhand is sort of catching up on them or weighing them down in some sort of sense, but I really don't know what's happened to them. There's no words I can think of apart from haha.
I think the words that Jay's actually looking for there, apart from aha, of course, is aging squad, Mark.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
It's we were talking earlier about putting all the reliability on Cole Palmer being a young player, putting all the reliability on this aging squad and not really making much of an impact in the transfer windows, apart from in January, is taking its toll now, isn't it?
I think January they spent because they're awaiting a transfer embargo. I think it's the only reason they've spent. I think they probably tried to get other players in that they couldn't get because it's, as we know, it's very hard to get players to move mid-season. Aging squad. Well, how many injuries has De Bruyne had over the last 4 seasons? Like, you should have been looking to replace him, but how do you replace him? There aren't many players of that quality. So what he's going to do is probably a bit like a lot of managers, rework your tactics, because let's be fair, they can't defend for shit. Like both goals today were just absolute shit defended. I felt for Edison on the first one when it just clips the player and goes over him, but why is he throwing himself to the ground in front of him in a crowded box? That's always going to happen. The goals they conceded against Madrid midweek, absolutely wetting myself watching the defender go sliding past Mbappe when he turned him and just slots it in the corner. Yeah, Liverpool got this wrapped up. Like, what is it? 11 points clear, 9 points clear. I've given
11
up
points
counting.
clear. They've played more games than anybody else as well. So,
but they messed up as well. They like that draw against Everton was 2 drop points. Like, for really,
and Villa in the week as well.
Everton, they definitely should be beating them, right? But Arsenal, they've done nothing but help them by not going out and getting a striker. Which is one thing you find anyone, a football fan that looks at Arsenal and goes, they just need a number 9 in the box. That's all they need. And in fact, they're probably a better team than Liverpool on their day. Like, Liverpool are very counter-attacking. Like, if I was playing, I'd be just absolutely take the yellow and flatten Salah, and Liverpool have got nothing after that. Because everything comes down that right. It might not finish down the right, but it starts down the right through Salah. Yeah, I think, like we said earlier, there's so many teams out there beating each other. Liverpool's been probably the only consistent team this season. And consistency wins you
only
stuff.
1 defeat, 7 draws, 19 wins, 27. I mean, it's not bad going at all, is it?
Who beat them?
Who beat
Forest.
them? Yeah, Forest.
Forest in thirds. You see what I mean? And then they get beaten, smashed up by other teams. So.
And they absolutely capitulated yesterday.
Just a quick thing on Liverpool. The one thing that presses me in the paint, because I don't like Liverpool, but regarding their manager, he can play in many different ways. Today, step back, play on the counter attack. He can go toe to toe with you. He can sit back. They've got many different ways of playing. I'll go back to the game against us. Again, his substitutions half time changed it. He tweaked a few things and put players in different positions, and that game changed because of that manager. And again, Liverpool fans love Klopp, but I think he's a better tactically manager than Jurgen Klopp. And they're going to win the league because obviously they've got Salah, who's unbelievable, but then they're going to win it because of that manager.
Yeah, that's the only thing I'd feel bad for is when Ferguson left, Klopp's the manager I would have taken. I knew enough about him in his Dortmund days to say that's the kind of manager you would want to bring in.
I've been perfect for you.
Yeah, Chelsea probably fans feel the same. You would have been perfect to have someone like that come in who's done so much. But then he retires for whatever reasons. We don't know what the reasons are, but he stepped away from football and they win it straight away. And you're just like, fuck's sake, if he hadn't announced that last year, they probably could have won it. Because that's really what's kicked off. We think they fell off a cliff because he went ongoing and their contract renewals went out the window. Now everyone's playing out their skin because they want a contract.
Well, I think Salah's playing out of his skin because he wants a big move.
Yeah, I believe that.
He's not I was going to say, the place I think Salah's going that's been overlooked, MLS. If he's not going to go Saudi, if he wants to stay away from the whole Saudi thing for maybe religious reasons or whatever it is, MLS, he can be as big a star as Messi over there.
Yeah, I think he'll go with Messi as well.
Yeah. Jonesy, do you want to go in on that? Go on.
Yeah, I just want to. I've got trying to thought now. Yeah, I was just trying to thought.
No worries. No, like you say.
Just with Salah, I think he does enter Saudi because obviously his beliefs and his religion. And obviously the Saudis did an interview a few weeks ago saying, we want him. And I think they'll just chuck money at him. Until he says I think they'll just give him what he wants because they can afford to do it.
Yeah. It's just an endless pile of cash over there. They'll give him whatever he wants and how much he wants.
Yeah, that's very true.
So yeah, it does look like it's champions elect. It bothers me a little bit. Excuse me, and that slots made it look a little bit too easy. That's what's annoyed me a little bit more than anything, because I
And
genuinely thought
if they win it this season, obviously when they won it under COVID, with rival fans, we took the mick saying, "Oh, you won it, you won it because of COVID." Where this time we got nothing. We've got
well,
literally nothing.
this will be their 19th league title because I don't count the one. Yeah, the COVID Cup champions. That was their league, that title.
I don't agree with that.
Yeah, so this year they'll actually win their 19th league title.
Yeah.
But I think we'll end there, chaps. Jonesy, great to have you on, mate. Really appreciate that. Jay, as always, and Mark, as always.
Yeah,
Obviously, everyone watching, you can catch Red Devils Roundup this week. We've got a very special show. I've got a one-to-one interview with friend of the channel who we actually haven't had a chance to get on this particular platform of the channel, but Phil Marsh, ex-United striker, will be joining me tomorrow for a chat. We're going to talk about United at the moment, and we're going to talk about a bit of non-league football to carry on our chat from the previous format. So look forward to that with Phil. But yeah, we'll have a Red Devils roundup this week, and then we'll get another talk of the league in next week. But until then, thank you very much indeed, and we will see you very soon.